My name is Wael Shawky. I am an artist from Egypt. My piece for Abraaj is called A Glimpse of Clean History. I consider it a sort of extension to my previous search about the Crusades history, and that it started really by, I was really fascinated by the book of Amin Malouf, Crusades Through Arab Eyes. The piece that I am showing here is based on a painting by a French painter. His name is Jean Foucault, that he painted the speech of Pope Urban II that launched the first Crusades in 1095. So what is happening in this speech, that it was not really documented when it happened. It was the most important historical speech that after this speech, the history of the Crusades lasted 200 years. And it was obviously, according to many historians, that it was the main spark that led to all these 200 years of Crusades. But at the same time, what really interested me, that it was not documented during the speech of the Pope. And it was documented after this. So for the moment, we have 4 different versions of this speech. That there are, of course, big differences between them, but that also shows how we write about history. So because I'm fascinated about this idea about how human write about history, so I think it was the beginning of trying to I used the same speech in films before, a film called Cabaret Crusades, the horror show file. And then now I'm using the same speech as a start for my project here in Abraaj. To sort of this part of analysis to how we write history and the level of authenticity of this history, if it's written really, if there's something called fact or not fact, or what is it exactly. I think it was very important to have this speech, that it was painted 500 years later by Jean Foucault, and now I am trying to make the same painting as a kinetic sculpture piece, maybe after over 650 years from the original painting. What you see when in this sculpture piece here is curtains that opens every 2 minutes, and what you see inside a wooden box is a 3D version of this painting. You cannot see it more than 1 minute because the curtains closes again. So in that case, when I say it's a glimpse of clean history, it's a sort of this critique to the idea that whether it's really a fact or not, to see this still image of this historical moment. I had a really nice talk today with Hans at the Global Art Forum. We were discussing the beginning of this translation for the book by Amin Malouf to a film called Cabaret Crusades, the horror show file. The whole search started in 2009. I was invited by Pistoletto Foundation to make a project there, where I started to see different type of marionette collections in different places, until we found a marvelous collection called Lupi Collection in Torino, and the foundation, with many negotiations between them and the Lupi Collection, that we managed to, that the museum, the small museum, lend us over 130 marionettes to make this film with. And then, of course, we changed all the costumes and we changed everything, but it was based on this beautiful historical marionette. It's 200 years old marionette. So that was really the beginning. And then I think it was very important to me that I try also to continue the idea of analyzing how we write history. So I found that Amin Maalouf is using many different sources like Ibn Jubair, Ibn Kathir, Al-Qalansi, and the same sources, of course, that Amin Maalouf used, which all these Arab historians that lived during and after the Crusades time. Also, I found that many other writers used the same references. But what's really interesting about Maalouf's book, that he is using almost the same way that I like, that there is nothing called the truth. It's just he's using what he finds, basically. But it's from the other point of view, which is the Arab point of view. So in that case, I decided to make my references also is Amin Maalouf's choices. So all the script in this film is based on what he chose, basically. Yeah. Well, actually, I liked a lot the interview that they did with him. Really, I loved it. Yes, it's great. It's very simple and it's very straightforward. And I find that he's just answering a lot of things that I already believe in it. I find it very, very interesting. I wish we could really make it real, that we have this talk as it was supposed to be, because I was preparing myself to be interviewing Amin Maalouf more than speaking about the film, actually. And then when he had this emergency, I had to speak about the experience. I think we are part of this, for sure. But I don't think I am really someone, I don't think I'm a good reader, honestly. I just feel that it brings a lot of visual to me all the time. I don't have a good memory at all. And I think maybe this is really great makes it much easier for me to make this transformation for all this literature, heaviness, historical facts into visual. But yeah, as I said before, I really like this idea of transforming specific creative form, like literature, for example, or painting, into another form.